All right, so in today's video, I'm going to show you some basic EQ, some basic compression, some basic de-essing, some basic saturation. And I feel like these, things will go a long way because then you can take those and maybe switch them out with your favorite plugins or kind of do things a little bit differently. But I feel like especially for people that may be recording themselves or mixing themselves, could find this very useful. And like I said, do like their own thing and maybe use this as inspiration or whatever. But also, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you're returning, I appreciate it. We're at 750 subscribers, which is crazy. We're almost at 1,000. Also, all the links in my description. I have plugin discounts. I have gear discounts. A couple of them are exclusive for YouTube, if you didn't know that. So you won't get them anywhere else. And yeah, let's just jump into the computer. All right, this is a song by Hanley. It's called Too Far Too Soon. I recorded it and mixed her whole album, which this song is on, that I will link below. It's about 2 years ago, I think she released it. This song was also mastered by, the whole album was actually mastered by Mark Daniel Nelson. So yeah, first thing I do is I go through and I clip gain, de-breath, de-ess, everything manually by hand. Like I said, depending on how much time I have will depend on how aggressive I am with it as far as going in and taking my time to do every little thing. The first stage of EQ or compression, in this case, let's just pull up an EQ and let's see, and we can see visually what we are seeing and hearing. So let me do this, and let's start from here.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon.
Okay, so you can see definitely, some low stuff, that we would usually get away, uh, or that we would usually take out in a vocal. So let's see, I like to start at maybe like 90, just depends on the track too.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity.
And to be honest, I might even raise it up a little bit. Let's do like 115. But also you can see there's some low mid stuff right here. So like typically 250, 280 up to maybe 400.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity.
Just a couple dB, you know what I mean? Because you can already hear, especially with this EQ, which is what I like about it, is that you don't have to push it too hard before it starts doing what you need it to do. In this case, 2 dB. I mean, more than that, you can, hear that it was starting to sound thin. And I'll show you.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me.
So now that I found my frequency that I want to, basically what I'm doing is a static EQ, your typical just EQ. This is how it's going to be EQ'd for the entire performance of the track or whatever, the length of the clip that you're working with. But I also want to make sure that I use a dynamic band because it sounds a little bit more natural. It's only going to kick in after, once it reaches the threshold that you set it at. So to me, dynamic EQ is a lot more natural than using a static EQ or, what I'm referring to, just your basic EQ move.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll
And then up here in the upper mid range too, you can still, see a little bit. So I'm gonna take a couple dB, and I'm also just gonna do a little bit of dynamic EQ.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon. For you, you're never in the same vicinity.
So you can hear by me soloing this upper mid-range band that after a certain point of the threshold that I've set, you can start hearing it peak through when it hits that threshold. And those are also the frequencies that I'm hearing that I don't like, and also that I know typically would be, a very harsh frequency, whether it's on a small speaker, especially AirPods. I mean, even bigger systems too. So basically, what I'm doing here, I'm just making my own de-esser essentially, which is what another reason I like to use multiband EQ or multiband compressors. As you can see, I just made sure that the attack and the release were on the fastest settings. Depends on the performance too, but typically they're pretty quick. You want it to only, grab those S's as much as possible and let go of them as much as possible, just so it's not lispy and it's not grabbing the entire signal, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is, a basic EQ that I would.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity.
And you can see by me doing this, the mid range comes down. It's not as prominent, and it's not like sucking the life out of it. It's just kind of taming it. Same thing with the low mids and stuff. You can hear that it goes from sounding boomy to nice and thin and airy. And I don't mean thin like as in like thin is a good thing. I just mean that it kind of thinned it out in a nicer way. It just doesn't sound so thick, especially for the song and her voice. It allowed me to get a more brighter vocal without me even adding an EQ. It's just giving me the illusion or tricking the ear into thinking something's gotten brighter because that low end is being taken care of, that your ear is not focused on it so much now. So it's kind of just like smoothing out the frequencies, making it a more even playing field. So the next thing I would do is my first compressor. So in this case, let's do something different. Let's do a tube tech. I don't usually use the tube tech as like my main compressor when I mix, just because it's a little too touchy, but let's try it.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon. When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you never. When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two.
Yeah, see, I'm not really, it's just a little too grabby still, like, you know what I mean? It's just like not, it's just too finicky for it to be like a compressor that's going to control or really tame a signal. So I think I'm going to try the Distressor. All right, so yeah, let's try this just because I know this is going to be more of what I'm looking for. I'm actually going to try an opto mode.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always.
So with opto mode, you got to set your settings when it kind of tells you what to set everything to. So 10, and then this is on 0.
When I.
So now that I've set, because it says opto, if you want it to be in opto mode, you need to set your attack to 10 and your release to 0. So let's do that. So that's what I did. So now it should be working in opto mode, which, is more like an LA2A or something.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon.
So what's cool about it is that you can really hear that distortion being added to the signal, which is really cool. It's like on the, I don't know, upper mid range, I guess, because we're also boosting that little. I think it's like 6 to 10K. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there is a little bit of distortion happening on that top end, which is what I personally like. Maybe that's not what the song needs. if I were to mix this again, maybe I would change my mind or something. But since this is just us soloing a vocal, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it because I like what the Distressor does, and I like that it has that kind of feature. Um, because then you get to choose between something that's kind of clean versus I want to dirty the signal up a little bit.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two.
And then, you can see that I'm, matching the level. I'm only doing it to keep away all the YouTube commenters.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me and
So, pretty level match. You can definitely hear that mid-range being pumped up a little bit in a really nice way. So next, let's do a de-esser.
when I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon. When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to.
So yeah, in the song and in her performance, she's very, very essy. So, like I said, that's when going in and manually de-essing stuff can be really helpful. Because, like I said, it just depends on the performance and the material. And I would definitely probably go in and kind of help the de-esser a little bit so it's not trying to grab on every little thing. And then the last thing I would probably do is maybe some sort of like saturation thing. I don't think this really needs it, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Actually, let's do like a UAD. Let's do like a some sort of preamp or whatever. I'm gonna try it bypass and then turn it on through the performance.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon. When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon. When I walk into a crowded room, I always look around for you, but you're never in the same vicinity. So I'll find someone to sit with me, and what they'll make me feel, I'll know it isn't real. We'll share a laugh or two, and then we'll go too far too soon.
So yeah, as you can see, I was messing with the gain knob. Basically, when it comes to this preamp, you have your input and your output, and then your mic or line source, and then your gain knob, which, if I remember correctly, would be how much you're driving into the preamp as far as you driving into the tubes, basically. So the best way to think about it is like, essentially how much do you want your signal to be saturated? And then you can fine tune with your input and output, basically. I put it in mic level.
When I walk into a crowded room, I always look up.
Mic level is going to be definitely hotter too. So I just, it's just me thinking that it's going to be more juice out of it, I guess. I like to do that with preamp plugins, kind of see what I like. EQ first, dynamic and static EQ, compression, de-esser, and, this. And then obviously, like I mentioned earlier, before I do any plugins, I go in and clip gain everything and make sure all that is taken care of, just so my plugins or hardware don't have to work as hard. But yeah, if you're new here, hope you enjoyed the video. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Please consider subscribing. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 750 as of this video. So yeah, and then please use the links in my description below if you want any of the gear that I use, or any of the gear that I personally trust. I would get a little kickback if you buy through the link. And then also I have plugin discounts, and I have a personal PSP AudioWare plugin discount that you can use exclusively for YouTube people. So yeah, only you guys get to see this and hear about it. So please go, do that, and I'll catch y'all later.